Hello there. So I've got my Jackson DXMG. It's about a mid-2000s Jackson with licensed Floyd Rose, and I am going to restring it. It's the first time I'm restringing a Floyd Rose in my life, but my Strat has a floating bridge, so I think I pretty much more or less have the concept of how to do this. Got just some rudimentary tools, so brought with me an Allen key, which fits for that. Don't have the original, oh well. Got a pair of pliers just to cut the ends of the strings off. Doing this in a hotel room, so it's got to be a little cramped with the video. I think I'm going to grab a towel to put on the table so I don't scratch the thing up more than it already is. And I guess we're going to go for it. So I got this guitar about, I don't know, something like 6 months ago. And I sent it to my favorite tech to do a setup. It's got 9s on it right now, and I like the way it plays, so I don't think I need to make any sort of major changes to anything. One of the things that I noticed right off the bat here is that let's see if I can get it in the picture. About here. The bridge plate is pretty much laying flat, like right flat on the body. You can see that on this side better. Somewhere around like here. So I think what I want to do is, I know what I want to do is, as we go through this process, I'm going to make sure that that bridge plate, once it's restrung, is still in the same position. Now, one of the things that I have seen in videos is something like jam a 9-volt battery in here in order to hold the bridge plate in place while we're changing the strings. But this is a Jackson-made licensed Floyd Rose, and it looks like there's really no space in here to jam anything, right? The other thing that I could do, sort of looking at this from the back, is toss something in here in this gap, because once we start taking strings off, the tension of the springs is going to want to pull the entire tremolo block closer into the body, and then we can get into all sorts of chasing our tails trying to get that setup to be the same again, stretching that back. So when I'm restringing my Strat that has a floating bridge, what I'll do is I'll take a stack of Post-it notes, and I've got I like the way the Strat's set up too, so I don't really make any changes to that. So I've got kind of the exact number of Post-it notes to just jam right underneath the tremolo between the trem and the body in order to hold it into the right place when restringing it. And I don't have a stack of Post-it notes right now, but you know what, it might not even be necessary. We'll see. I think probably the best way to go about this is going to be one string at a time. So we might even skip that part. I don't know. We'll see. Strings. JHS Boomers. I've been playing these strings since I was a kid. I'm happy with them, and I don't see really much of a reason to change, so we're good with that. And then, tuner. I'm in a hotel room, and I didn't bring like a guitar rig, and I didn't bring pedals or anything like that. What I do is, there's an app that you can get for your phone, Fender Tune. It's free. It works nice. And this thing is set up for standard tuning. So right now we got close enough. flat because if you saw the last video, I traveled with this by plane. So I probably took a little bit of a bump here and there. Plus, there's always going to be the difference in temperature and pressure and whatever from having made that trip. So I like the setup right now. It's pretty much in tune, close enough for these purposes. I'm gonna over here get this first lock here. We're gonna undo that somehow. There we go. I think that there's always going to be a tendency for the strings to go flat as they stretch out more. So I think I'm going to take these, the micro tuners here, and I'm going to kind of loosen them up like all the way. And then we've got to unlock that as well. Let's see, the string goes. That's right, because there's that thing that you gotta cut the balls off the strings. Okay, so really, what I should do is I should undo the string up here, and now I'm gonna get my first taste of actually working on this guitar because I love the look of the reverse headstock. The pointy reverse headstock thing, because I consider myself to be a Strat guy, and this is generally speaking somewhat Strat shaped, but definitely not a Strat. And I can appreciate that because I've got a Strat that I really like, and I wanted to have something different, and this definitely meets the criteria of being something different. Alright, so we got that released up there. I think if I just cut off that kind of squiggly part, see that right here, just gone, then it's going to be easier to take that, slide it out from underneath the lock without having to completely undo the lock, and then I'm still locked in over here, so I'm going to unlock that. Probably some of you guys that actually have a Floyd and like use them on a daily basis are probably watching this going like, wow, that guy's an idiot and he's going so slow. But for those of you who haven't done this before, maybe it'll be useful or maybe it'll be just something to laugh at. I guess it depends on what the result will be. Yay! It always feels kind of nice to open a new package of strings, doesn't it? Alright, so we're doing the low E. So I got my got a whole bunch of strings here, right? So I got putting on a 42. Open that up and let her rip. Alright, so as I understand it, I need to cut the ball end of this string off. Like so. Goodbye. And then I need to stick said string end in here. I guess it will go down as far as it goes. And then lock it like this, and I guess it only needs to be locked enough so that there's tension on it. That's how the thingy works. You don't need to go like super strong on that because you don't want to strip it. Okay, so feels pretty okay locked there. I'm gonna slide that underneath the lock up here, And then leave myself a little bit of space there to work with for a nice wrap. I want it to go around this way. So weird working with the reverse headstock. Looks like we're pretty much good to go there, so I'm gonna cut off some of that end. Okay, now I think we're gonna do this so that I'm gonna tune it using the tuner. When I say tuner, I mean tuning the headstock tuner. We're not gonna use the micro tuners yet. Okay, so that's good. And now what I'm curious about is the other strings here. Did I throw the whole bridge off real bad? Interesting. So the high E is right on the money still. B went a little sharp. G went a little sharp. Everything else went a little bit sharp. And then the A, I guess, because the locking nut is for both the E and the A. I guess when I unlocked the nut, that the A also, like, some tension was relieved out here. So that's all fine. Our E's on. E's in tune. And now when I look at let's see that here. Where is that? That's right. Here. So the micro tuner there is like, if you loosen it up a lot, I can see that I've got quite a bit of play in there. I think I don't want it like just completely loose, so I'm gonna tighten it down until I just touch it. Now my inexperience, my Floyd inexperience is coming through. What should I do? Should I have it just barely touch it? Working with the assumption that the string is probably going to have a tendency to go flat? Or do I want to give it a little bit? Let's give it a little bit. Let's give it like 2 turns. There, it's still sticking up quite a bit. We'll give it like 2 turns there, just in case it goes sharp and I need to tune it down. Anyways, E replaced. Good. So we can get rid of that. And now I'm going to do this, what, 6 more times. So we're going to get that A off of there. I keep on turning the machine heads in the wrong way because of the reverse headstock, which looks super awesome, but it's making my wrist do awkward things here. I guess it would be probably easier to use a string winder, which I don't have with me because I'm in a hotel room. Let's see, let's just say that that's loose enough, and I'm gonna chop it off. Unwind it. Just right off the peg. There we go. Toss that out. Unlock this bad boy. There we go. No more A string. Get our 32 on there. I'd seen or read something too where somebody did it in the opposite way. Like they would have the ball end on the tuner, and then they would cut this. I don't know. I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it the quote unquote normal way. We're gonna cut the ball right off there. Okay. Put that in there. Lock that nice and tight. And I almost forgot to loosen up the micro tuner. Good. Okay, I'll just get it right now just so it's nice and loose. Okay, that's in there pretty good. Slide that underneath the locking nut. The reverse headstock's throwing me off. So I'm gonna go this here way, yeah. A little bit extra room to breathe. Some sort of string. Be happy with that. Okay, so I got this loose again, so I'm going to do it again like 2 turns. Like 1, 2, just put a little bit of tension on it. It's so I can have a little room to work with if it gets too sharp. I guess would be weird. Okay, so those are tuned. So now I think I'm going to lock the nut. But as I understand it, this is also a thing like you don't lock it really tight because you don't want to strip the string. Yes, indeed, that made it a little bit sharp. Made them both a little bit sharp. Okay, that kind of makes sense. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna unlock it, and then I'm gonna leave myself a little bit more room to play with down here. So I'm gonna do like 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. This again. Hopefully I did a better job this time. Boy, you always feel like, well, I should do a little bit more, but you shouldn't do too much, right? Okay. So now I'm a little sharp. We'll see how that all goes. Looks to be okay to me for the moment. Sure does take a while doing them one at a time. Alright, so we're going to unlock the nut up here. And move on to our next string. Well, so far I gotta say this isn't so bad. So yeah, I've heard people kind of spooked about stringing a Floyd Rose or a licensed Floyd Rose, as is the case here. But I don't know. It's not really that different from anything else. Cut that off. There we go. Straighten out. And then loosen that up again. See, the string comes up quite high on that one compared with the others. So that kind of makes me wonder if actually what I'm seeing with the bottom two strings is not just that the spring underneath there is worn out. Meh, it's probably about a 15-year-old guitar at this point. Stuff wears out. I was kind of thinking about potentially trying to replace the bridge, because right here where the trim arm attaches to the plate, there's like a little part here broken out of it. But it's kind of like, it works, and you know, this guitar is dinged up a little bit. You can see like a whole bunch of places here, there's dents and scratches and stuff like that. To be honest, it really doesn't bother me at all. Not really troubled by it. For me, it's fine. If you saw my Strat, you would know it's let's say a heavy relic, to be kind. So I think I'm gonna want this to be like more or less in the same ballpark, I think, as the other guys. Otherwise, it's just gonna, I don't know, look weird and bug me. So we're gonna lock that down. Yep, good, locked. Slide that under the locking nut. There we go. I'm gonna get confused by the reverse headstock again. There we go. Oh, the things we do for fashion. And I looked it underneath the other side. Covering that up with my hand. I'm gonna chop off some excess here. That's interesting. I went way sharp, so let's see what happens when we get this strung up to D. Okay, once you get the tension right, see, it's making that weird vibrating thing because the because the nut's unlocked, and also it seems like unlocking the nut there, like again, like we experienced down on the A string, really threw it out of tune, releasing the tension there. But the B and the E up top are still pretty close. Okay, so I think that we're good then with the D. So we're going to move on to the G. it's just the springs were worn out over in this end that they didn't raise back up all the way, which is fine. Okay, so we toss 16 on there. So you may notice that I'm not doing a fantastic job over here of having like enough wrap around the post of the string. One of the tricks that I should be using, which I saw one time, which I liked quite a bit, was this in here. Lock down that G. Slide this under the locking tuner. So one of the tricks that I saw one time that I liked quite a bit was you kind of just like pull it, you know, enough here, and then cut it at 1, 2, cut it at the second post, and that should be enough. But then, of course, you're in for some winding. And that being said, I can see now that I'm gonna have, I'm gonna go from not having enough wound on the bottom 3 strings to having kind of a gross wind up here with a little bit too much, but you know, whatever. I'll change my strings a few times on this guitar and I'll kind of get a feel. I think you get it for every one of these guitars, like unless you're a guitar tech or you work in a shop and you have to work on a billion different guitars. I think when it's your guitar, you kind of get a feel for how to do all of this in a way that you like. Oh, there we go. Awesome. That's a really good lesson for me about like how tight does it actually have to be down here to lock it. Because it slipped right out of the lock. So loosen that up a little bit. No harm, no foul. Just stick it back in there. So I guess the lesson learned here is you do have to kind of do it. Like, not kid, not make a joke of it, just actually lock it. There we go. Gonna pop out now. We'll see. So now that we've got those on, where are we at with the other ones? Went a little flat here. Went a little flat here, and that's fine because I can do adjustment on the microtuners there, or if it's really gets really far out of whack, then we can undo the lock again and do it from up here. These are also a little bit flat. I guess one of the other things that I had read was, and this is true of a Strat with a floating bridge as well, is stretching out the strings when they're fresh can make a world of a difference in the tuning stability. Because the fresh strings, when you first put them on, you know, you go for that big dive bomb the first time, or big bend, and then just doesn't come back into tune because you've stretched the string out. After you've played on the strings for a little bit, of course, it's not really a problem anymore because they're already in their happy place. Now we're getting there. We're getting closer. We got 2 to go. Some of these strings, you know, you feel it and you're like, whoa, it's super gross. It's time to go. Unlock it down here. If I can get the, yep. Loosen up the microtuner again. I don't know, do I need to loosen it up that much? I think it probably is one of those things that's going to come with experience as I use it. Like, how far do you actually release the microtuner? Because, like, what am I going to do? Am I going to replace the strings in this, like, twice a year? No, I'm probably going to replace them, I don't know, once every couple months, probably, realistically, because I'm not playing live, so I don't really have, I'm not like afraid of breaking the string or something like that. But even so, like, I mean, actually, when I say even so, I should say especially for recording, I think you can really hear old worn out strings. But I think it's also a question of what feels good to you. So, like, you know, really old, gross, worn out strings, I don't know, doesn't feel good to me. So it feels, the playing feel, I don't know, seems better to me when I've got fresher strings. I think it has to be like brand new, but all over the place. We can hit that up with the micro tuners, I think. I think it's not so big. But it's a learning experience. So, I don't know. Yet. Right. Last string to come off. It's our happy little E. I gotta admit the nines, because this guitar came with nines on it, and so I just had it set up for nines as it is. It does make a lot of sense, because I play tens or 10.5s. I'm still kind of working on that decision on my Strat. But you know, the whole point here is that this is going to be something that plays faster and bendier and all that kind of stuff. So to me, it does make sense to have nines on this. But it does take a little bit of getting used to if you're used to playing a thicker gauge string, because they just feel so light and so easy and smooth, and you don't have to put so much effort into it, and I don't know, it's a very different feel. But then I find myself also like playing a little bit, playing out of tune, like putting too much force into it, because I'm used to the thicker gauge. So what should I do? Should I be playing just one gauge on all guitars, no matter what they're for? Alright, so doing them one at a time. We've replaced all the strings now. I can see a couple of these guys are too... That G went quite a bit flat. D's close. A went quite a bit flat. A went flat as well. So let's see where we go with this. So I'm gonna, because the B's fine. That's fine. Let's lock this stuff. Let's lock it. Alright. I think what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna grab said tremolo arm, and I'm gonna kind of yank on it a little bit, stretch them out. And my assumption here would be that I just made everything way out of tune. Stretching the strings. So it seems like biggest ones suffering here are D and the G. So I'm going to unlock this guy again. And I'm going to retune this to get it closer using the machine heads. Okay, so here, so it'd be interesting to see, like, what is the effect for science? As I lock it, it stays. And the G is really close. Get that just that extra little bit above. Not much. There you go. That'll do with the microtuner. That'll do with the microtuner. On the fence. Seems quite flat. Okay, so I'm going to unlock this. But I guess even this makes sense actually now that I think about it, because you could explain that as saying, like, when you stretch the strings, the wound strings are going to sort of have more stretch in them to give. So let's play that game again. Right now it's we say that that's in tune for the moment. So what happens when I lock it? It goes a little bit. Oh, that's fine. Okay, I think that's gonna be good enough for me. Let's see what happens now. Can we tune this? old guitar. That old of a guitar? I know people got guitars from the 60s and stuff, 50s and 60s, but still, I think this was never going to be a top of the line thing. This is very much a really nice kind of middle of the road guitar. It's never going to be perfect. And I think that's one of the things that I love about these kind of guitars is that they're not absolutely everything perfect. You have to learn the guitar. What does that guitar want? I almost wonder if now, once we get these here, I'm losing myself in my train of thought. So now I'm diving deep into that whole like, should you set the bridge, block something underneath here to hold everything in place, because otherwise you can get into this kind of thing here where you're like chasing your tail the whole time. You tighten up one string and it throws the other ones flat. And now I'm almost wondering as well if I wouldn't, like, the next time I did this, tune everything up on the tuning pegs first, and then lock the tuners. I might just try and do that right now. Does that make more sense? Is that smarter? Maybe later. But yes, I am enjoying your free tuner, the Fender. Thank you very much. I found myself doing as I keep on bumping these tuners up here. Okay, I think that's gonna be good enough, right? Right. So, gonna lock them up. It's funny too because every time you touch this, you're also moving the bridge, so you gotta like let it go so that it sits in the position that it wants to sit in. Alright, I think I'm gonna call that job done at this point. So I suppose what's going to happen actually is that I'm going to wind up making another video sometime in the future, which is going to be how I like to string up my licensed Floyd Rose. But this was fun because it was the first time I learned some stuff. I think the next time I would do this, I would unlock all of these, and I would still probably replace the strings one by one in order to keep the tension on the bridge right. But I'd probably leave all these unlocked, tune up the whole guitar, only using the tuners on the headstock. Then once I was satisfied with that, then lock them, and then make like whatever micro adjustments here with these guys. But it's nice, and we did have that little boo-boo here that I made where I didn't tighten down the lock on the G string tight enough and popped out. So there's all those sort of things that come out, you know, as you learn stuff. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Thanks for watching. That's it. Have a good one. Goodbye.